Hello, beautiful goddess. I want to talk to you right now about crystals and kind of how you can use them. I know in the book, The Goddess Life, we talk about crystals a lot, and there's some crystal recommendations for you to use. And in the book, I mentioned that you can use them to pair with your meditations and your affirmations, even your journaling or visualizations. But I want to kind of go a little bit more into exactly how you can use the crystals. So, the simplest way to use crystals is to literally just have one near you. That is the simplest way that you can do it. So, this is a piece of labradorite here. This is a palm stone. Generally, palm stones are the kinds of crystals that can fit in your palm, and they're usually like rounded and smoothed like this. So, just having a crystal near you, keeping it next to your workspace is a good way to use it. Um, Keeping it next to your bed. So if you're working with a crystal for to help you fall asleep better, or to remember your dreams, or to increase your psychic dreaming, you could keep the crystal next to your bed or even under your pillow. If you are using a crystal to help you concentrate, for instance, like fluorite is an excellent crystal to help you concentrate, you could keep a little piece of fluorite on your desk for you or with you, and that will help. The energy of it will help you concentrate. As well as in the book, I mentioned they serve as visual reminders. So even if you don't necessarily believe that the energy of the fluorite is helping you to concentrate, it serves as a visual reminder. So when you see that piece of fluorite, it reminds you, oh, okay, it's time to concentrate. It alerts your mind that, okay, it's time to zero in and let's concentrate. The same with keeping a crystal next to your bed for sleeping, for instance. Even if you don't necessarily believe that the energy of the crystal is going to help you fall asleep easier, seeing that crystal next to your bed, like that piece of amethyst or something, when you see it, it'll kind of trigger something in your brain to let you know, oh, okay, it's time for sleep now. And it can just kind of help you in that way. So crystals don't necessarily have to be this like magical, mystical sort of energy. They can just serve as very literal visual reminders of things to cue your mind to remind you. So that's one way to use them. Another way for like meditation or for affirmations is to hold on to the crystal. So you can hold it into your hand. Usually, our non dominant hand is our receiving hand, the hand that kind of receives energy. So you can put it, for me, it'd be my left hand. And then if you're trying to like release energy or give energy, it would be your dominant hand. So I'll get into that in a minute as far as like releasing energy. So say I'm going to do a meditation to increase my intuition, to start to trust and embrace my intuition. Again, labradorite would be a really good crystal for that. So I would hold the labradorite in my left hand, my receiving hand, and I would just keep that in the palm of my hand while I was doing my meditation, whether it was a visualization or a guided meditation, whatever it is. I would hold on to that crystal while I was doing that meditation. So that helps you to kind of program that crystal with the energy of increasing your intention or intuition. And then you're also receiving the energy of that crystal into your being, into your body. Uh, like I said, you don't necessarily have to hold crystals or wear them. That's another way that you can utilize crystals is by crystal jewelry. Um, because just even having them near you, you're absorbing their energy frequency. But it definitely does help. The closer you have it to you or physically touching you, obviously you're going to get a lot more of that energy. So that's why it is helpful to hold a crystal when you're doing your affirmations or doing any sort of prayers or meditations or anything. So that is another way to use it, for absorbing the energy of the crystal for whatever your intention is. So say for instance, you're working on some self-love. You could hold a rose quartz crystal in your receiving hand, and that will help you to receive that loving energy of the rose quartz while you're doing some self-love affirmations or self-love journaling. When you're doing your journaling, if you're holding it in your non-dominant hand, obviously, then you can write while you're holding the crystal, or even just placing it next to you while you're writing in your journal is a good thing to do. So another way to use crystals, like I said, is to kind of help you release energy. And crystals that are good for that are, and I believe I have these listed in the back of the book, black tourmaline, smoky quartz. Those are two of the best crystals to help you kind of release your energy and ground your energy. So for that, I personally like to hold the crystal. So this is black tourmaline. I like to hold it in my giving hand. So basically, while I'm, releasing whatever it is I'm releasing that energy out through my hand, through the palm of my hand, into the crystal, and the crystal itself is absorbing that energy that I am releasing. it can be anything that you're releasing. If you're releasing your, self-doubt or insecurities, you can release that, or even just excess energy. Sometimes when we get really excited, or maybe we've been, like if you're an introvert and you've been around a bunch of people, or sometimes even just one person, you're absorbing all of that energy, so it makes you exhausted, and then you have that extra energy carrying around. That would be a good time to release that energy into a black tourmaline or a smoky quartz, just to release that excess energy and to just help you ground yourself to feel more stable. So that is another way to use the crystal. There's an exercise in the book where I talk about cleansing your aura. And this is a selenite stick, and this is perfect for that. You just literally go around your body with the crystal. I like to start at my head and move my way down, kind of pushing that energy down and out. But you literally just kind of scan your body. You can do it with your eyes closed if you want, and visualize and even feel. I mean, the more you work with crystals, the more sensitive you become to their energies. And I can literally feel the energy of this crystal as it's scanning. It's a pretty cool feeling. So you can do that, or you can keep your eyes open if that helps you to visualize like a white light coming from the crystal cleansing your aura. So that is another way to use crystals. Another way is through the chakras. So if you are working on a specific chakra, you could take the crystal. So like here is angel light. Angel light is good for the throat chakra and also the crown chakra. So say I was working with angel light for my throat chakra. I would lay back and set the crystal on my throat, and either just do some breathing that way with the crystal on that throat chakra, or do a meditation, or even like lay down and say some sort of prayer. Whatever it is that you're doing to work with the throat chakra, whether it's doing a visualization to balance it or affirmations for the throat chakra, just keep the crystal there. And you could do that for any of the chakras. So, amethyst for the crown, or the, what am I trying to say, third eye chakra. Whichever corresponding chakra and crystal, you would use it that way. You could also, if there's a crystal point, well, this is a tower, but a crystal that has a point like this is another good way to cleanse your chakras and to get the energy moving. You can use a clear quartz point if you want. It doesn't have to be a big chunky tower like this. It could just be, oh, I thought I had one right here next to me, but I don't. It could just be, a smaller clear quartz point. You can cleanse the chakras and clear out the chakras that way. And every time I do that, I feel tingling on my forehead when I put this to my forehead. But so say we're wanting to clear the third eye chakra. You could take a piece of amethyst or clear quartz and take the point and just kind of go around the chakra. So you would go, what is this? Counterclockwise, and then do it clockwise, counterclockwise, literally just kind of like stirring up the energy, and that just helps to break up any stagnant energy. So that's an excellent thing to do for the different chakras. Again, you could do like the crown chakra, so you would just go in one direction, go in another direction, and that just helps to clear out the energy. Same with the throat chakra, one direction, and then go into another. Do you hear the doggy with his clinking collar? So that is another way to use crystals. And I don't really want to make this too long of a video, but those are the best ways to use the crystals. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, other than, because then we'll be getting into like really in-depth ways to use crystals. Because you could always have a glass of water, and set your crystal next to the glass of water for about 5 minutes. No, puppy. So professional all the time with me, isn't it? Anyway, you could take your glass of water and set your crystal with it, or even, because this is large enough, I could set it here. And this will help the water absorb the energy of the crystal. Maybe leave it there for like 5-10 minutes. Some people find it helpful to place the crystal next to their beverage and set it in the sunlight. You don't have to do that. And then you can drink your drink, and it's infused with the energy of the crystal. That's not necessary. I mean, you can get the same benefit just by holding the crystal as well. Definitely, some people put crystals into their drink, which you can with certain crystals, like any of the quartz crystals, so amethyst, rose quartz, clear quartz, you can put into your water to charge it that way, but there are crystals that can be toxic, that are made with like toxic metals that are fine for you to hold on to, but not for you to drink. So if you are going to go that route, please look up. You can just Google a list of toxic crystals, and make sure that you're not bathing or drinking with toxic crystals. But pretty much generally the best way to use crystals is holding them or placing them on your different chakra points. I really think pairing crystals with, like, when you're working through something or working on something, like affirmations, pairing the crystals with the oils, which there's another video talking about how to use oils, which is kind of similar to how to use the crystals. It really just adds an extra layer to the work that you're doing. So to the affirmations that you're saying, it just adds another layer. I personally do believe in the energy and the power of crystals, so I think that it helps me add more of that energy and that power into what I'm doing. But if you're somebody that's kind of like, I don't know about this whole energy thing with crystals, again, it will serve as a visual reminder. So if you are holding that piece of rose quartz and you're saying your self-love affirmations, then next time you see the rose quartz, you're going to remember those self-love affirmations. You're going to remember the feeling of saying the affirmations and the feeling of self-love. And so it just serves as that visual, physical reminder. Let me really quick. So there are different kinds of shapes of crystals. So this is raw crystal. This is basically just how it comes out of the earth. This is what it looks like. Then there is tumbled crystal, where they put it in a rock tumbler, and so it's all smooth. There's crystal towers, like this one. There's crystal wands, like this, where it's pointy on both sides. It's really up to you as far as what kind you want to use. Some people are really, really drawn to work with just the raw natural crystal. And some people really, really love the tumbled crystals. I'm somebody who tends to vary. Sometimes I'm really called to the natural crystals, and then other times I really like the tumbled. It's up to you. And then the more you work with crystals too, the more you'll kind of figure out maybe which kind of crystals you like to work with. But that is it. That's kind of Crystals 101 really quick. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. How to choose a crystal. That's something I get asked a lot. If you have a local metaphysical shop or a local crystal shop, go to it. And usually they have a bunch of crystals set out, and then sometimes they'll have little cards that kind of tell you, oh, this crystal is good for this, and this one's good for this. Go in and don't look at the cards. Just look at the crystals and see which ones you're drawn to. Maybe not even necessarily the ones that are the prettiest, because sometimes what we visually are like, ooh, that one's pretty, it may not necessarily be what we feel. So kind of try to do it more by feeling. What do you feel drawn to? And it may surprise you. It may not necessarily be the prettiest crystal. Like, I mean, black tourmaline isn't necessarily that beautiful of a crystal compared to some of the other ones. But this is one that I'm always drawn to. So just keep yourself open and see what you're drawn to. And then more often than not, when you look at the card or the meaning of the crystal, you'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could totally use some of that right now. So that's one way to get started with crystals. Just go towards what you feel drawn to bring into your life. There's really no right or wrong way to start working with crystals. I always say, even if you're skeptical of the crystal's energy, but you're feeling drawn to it, then just try it. Just work out with the crystals, because what's the worst it's going to do is nothing. Best case scenario, it does help you. Worst case scenario, it sits there and it looks pretty. And like I said in the book, even if it's just sitting there looking pretty, when you see pretty things, that makes you happy, makes you feel good, which raises your vibration. So either way, crystals are working for you. So, all right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.